What you have to do is to generate content that causes people to go to your website, go to your email list, go to your shop, go to your course, your webinar, what have you. If they are staying in the app, you failed at content marketing. You have made Meta more money and made yourself poorer. What you need to do is say, I don't want you to be satisfied with an Instagram. I want you to be enticed to go see what I got going on.
Welcome to Amplify with Jess Ekstrom, a show designed to help women get out of their head and into their zone of influence. Okay, is it your dream to make money while you're asleep and dreaming? You know, the passive income that we all hear about, where we don't do anything but wake up the next morning and have an extra couple $1,000s in our bank accounts. Sounds pretty sweet, right? Well, today's guest is Lashonda Brown, a good friend of mine, tech educator, and founder of Bootstrap Biz Advice. And she and I agree, all the content about how you can quickly generate passive income, it's a bit of BS.
They're lying to you. So essentially what they're saying is they're truncating time and they're saying, in the season I'm in now, I am passively generating income, but they were actively working for years to get to that place.
Yes.
So at the end of the day, that's a lie. Now, I will say what the closest thing is to affiliate or to passive income is leveraging affiliate marketing. So I teach people how to create a YouTube passive income engine to fuel your business. So that's the most realistic way to approach passive income in my mind, that you could do something in 2000 that you're benefiting from in 2024. That's real. But saying like, oh, I just make money in my sleep for no apparent reason and people just give me money because I'm just here and use my link, that's not how it actually works. So, you know, for those who push that, I just kind of chuckle a little bit and just go in the depths of their Instagram to see their hustle phase, to see like, well, when did the active income start? Because you were doing something to get to this point. And so that's usually what it is.
And I am so glad that we're debunking this narrative, because it's like, yes, passive income requires active hustle for years. Like Mic Drop Workshop is at a point, I wouldn't say that it's even passive, but it's definitely something that I don't need to be present for all the time in order for it to work, which was part of my goal, because speaking requires me. And so I'm like, how can I also accomplish my mission and teach people things without having to be the pillar of it? But we've been doing this since 2018. I was renting out the bottom floor of restaurants and charging people on Eventbrite to teach them about public speaking. And so it was years and years of building an audience that I could finally, I hesitate even calling it passive to this day, but like this idea of passive income is, I think, needs to be debunked. But there are things and tools and systems that we can put in place, including YouTube, that can, more outcome for less input. Is that fair to say for how you help people?
So here's my thing. So let's think about what people actually mean when they say that, right? What they mean is that that old infomercial, the set it and forget it. You know, just put it in, just put the webinar in, put the course in, put the digital product in, just set it. And then money comes while you're sleeping. And girl, if I could just put PDFs on a website and make money, we wouldn't be here right now. You got to tell people that it exists. You got to express the value. You've got to build community. There's so much you need to do. And so what's so interesting about YouTube is that it's not actually a social platform. It's a search engine. It allows you to be social, but it's not a social platform. And so what you're doing is you're simply showing people your thought leadership in a capacity where they can find you when you are asleep, when you are spending time with your family, when you're working on your business. They can be on YouTube at 2:00 in the morning and buy what you're selling because you've put it in a place where they can consume it. They're not sitting around waiting for your live webinar. They can look at your YouTube video and click on your link then. And so that's what makes it passive, is that YouTube stays open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You do not. So you're leveraging that technology to be there when people are in need and provide them a solution to their problem. And once you do that for them, they want to reciprocate, so they look for your link. So it makes so much more sense than how we're used to marketing. I think people feel good when they post and get engagement in real time. But that's not what's necessary for you to have a thriving and sustainable business. And what that does, if you become so addicted to that real time engagement, your phone will be tethered to your hand for the rest of your life. If you want to work less and live more, you need a system that's designed to be asynchronous by default. And so I'm like, to me, I'm like, y'all, it makes so much logical sense. But in order for you to embrace YouTube, you have to set on fire this idea that I need immediate gratification from my customer in order for them to buy what I sell. All you need is to be there when they need you and have systems in place so they can get closer to that buying decision. You don't need to post 3 times a day to make a living. I don't do it. I got like 18 posts on Instagram right now and I'm thriving. So I just try to live a life that just dispels all the myths, and eventually people cave and they become customers. And that's what I do.
I'm caving right now. I'm like, what the heck am I doing? Putting so much effort into Instagram and like all these things where you feel like you need to show up, you need to feel validated. Do they like me? How much engagement did this get? When really at the end of the day, what I want to lead them to is our resources, our courses, and the things that I can do to help them if they're interested in public speaking. The fact that you talk about YouTube being a search engine, not a social platform, is an interesting distinction. Like, I use YouTube if I need to figure out how to do something or I need answers and I have a specific idea in mind. Like, how do I unclog a drain? Or how do I, set up an auto reply or something like that? And when I think about it now, like the videos that I'm watching, it could be 3 years ago that they were posted. I don't care because it's solving my problem. Versus when you're on Instagram, you're not going to see a post from 3 years ago. It's not going to serve you that. And so the longevity of the content that you put on there has a much longer lifespan because it's there when people need you, not when you show up.
Yeah, the way that I describe it a lot, it's a difference between a megaphone and a telephone. Instagram is a megaphone. You are screaming out into the ether, hoping someone hears you, reacts to it, and for some reason wants to click on your link in bio. YouTube is a telephone. Someone calls you up and says, "Hey, sis, I got a problem." And you're like, "Okay, sis, I got you." Right? They're seeking you out. Thus, they are problem aware and they're further along the buying journey from somebody who's just trying to be entertained, who all of a sudden gets smacked with your strategy and is like supposed to buy from you at that point. It takes so much longer for people to buy a product. Well, product-based businesses do well on Instagram. I should take that back. They do well because they're impulse buys. They're $100 or less. I see some gadget, some Amazon gadget in someone's reel. Yeah, I probably will get influenced to buy that, that USB lighter or this really cool thing for my car. But when it comes to professional services, I am not going to hire a CPA from a reel. Why would I do that? I want somebody that's a little awkward, someone who looks like they don't see much sunshine. Like, I want to see somebody behind a desk with like some degrees behind them that looks really competent and capable. Like, that's the person who's getting my money, not somebody who's pointing and dancing. So like the logic to me, it's so funny how social media twists our perspective to such an extent that we lose sight of reality. You would never hire a mechanic who you saw singing in an Instagram reel. So why are you marketing your business in that way if you want to be perceived as a professional? So you getting all my real talk today because I'm like, it makes no sense to me.
There's such a pressure to latch onto trends. Like TikTok is trend driven. Now Instagram is trend driven. Oh, there's this audio of the Real Housewives that now you have to speak over it and somehow apply it to your what the thing that you talk about. And it's exhausting. And I feel like I tried that during the pandemic for like a week and I was just like, if this is the reason that someone will buy what I'm doing, I don't need them. Like, I'm going to just let this fish back into the pond. If they are like, how good was Jess's voiceover, or did she nail the lip sync? No. And so when I kind of figured out like, well, what is true to me? How do I want to spend my time on these platforms? And also, you're not going to be for everyone, and that's okay. But and also realizing that the like followers and engagement on some of these channels do not always equate to sales. In fact, sometimes it doesn't at all. Like, just speaking transparently here from Mic Drop, we post speaking tips. We do a lot of stuff on our social channels, but it's not the thing that drives sales. I think it is great that we can nurture an audience, but it is not when we go to our KPIs and like looking at what actually drove a purchase. It's not from Instagram. It's from putting things out there, that whether it's a blog or a YouTube video or something that can be helpful over time. And so let's talk about the difference too between just like showing up to show up versus showing up with intent and strategy that actually has an impact in your business.
I think when we approach content marketing, we need to have the perspective of how can I use this content to validate my expertise and reduce the friction it takes for people to buy from me, right? So, step one is like, okay, I need them to know that I'm competent, that I'm capable, and that I'm in business, right? I am actively taking clients. So I'm going to get on and I'm going to talk to you about, hi, my name is Lashonda Brown. I'm a tech educator and YouTube coach, and here is what I do, right? So it's perfectly fine for you to generate content in whatever form feels right to you, whether it's a podcast, Instagram reel, YouTube video. But once you have expressed, I'm an expert, I'm open for business, you need to move them from that piece of content to a property that you own as quickly as possible. The reason why people are actually failing at content marketing is because they're so fixated on the likes and the views, which is helping Instagram, instead of focusing on, but what do people do after they consume the content? The content marketing game is about the call to action. It has nothing to do with the engagement on that platform because you don't own Instagram. So unless you are a content creator and you are selling access to your audience on that platform, that has nothing to do with your bottom line. What you have to do is to generate content that causes people to go to your website, go to your email list, go to your shop, go to your course, your webinar, what have you. If they are staying in the app, you failed at content marketing. You have made Meta more money and made yourself poorer. What you need to do is say, I don't want you to be satisfied with Instagram. I want you to be enticed to go see what I got going on. If you are watching a reel and all you're doing afterwards is binging more reels, you're not getting money from that person because they're further away from the engines you have in place to take their money. You don't have a link in your caption on Instagram. You know what I mean? Like, you got to think it through.
So how, content-wise, first of all, totally agree. If you're staying in the app, then you're failing at content marketing. I feel like there is probably, people feel the need to gatekeep. They're like, well, I can't tell them the answers because I want them to buy it or I want them to sign up for it. Da, da, da. This is not what I believe at Mic Drop Workshop. Like, I've found that the more that I give in value, the more trust that I build with my audience. But what would you say? And I know that we talk about this like in the course, micdropworkshop.com/series for Lashonda's YouTube course. But what would you say is a good strategy for content that you want to give them a bite and a value of what's possible? And then you also want them wanting more. Do you have tips for that?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we are missing the point when we think that making money in business is about withholding information. The internet exists. ChatGPT exists. If people want to learn information, they can get the info. We're not in the business of selling information. We're in the business of selling results. We're in the business of communicating value, right? So it's like the reason why someone would pay me to coach them about YouTube when they could just go on YouTube and learn how to do YouTube is because they want to work with a human being. They want to walk alongside someone. They want community. They want accountability. They want live feedback. So your job with your YouTube content, if you have these systems in place, is to say, hey, I'm so glad you got an answer to your question, but this is just the start of that journey, right? Okay, you got an answer to the question. You typed in how to change a tire. Cute. Now you know how to change a tire. But does that give you a tire? Does that get you from A to B? No, you still have steps to do after you watch the video. And so that's how we have to think about our content. If I express to you how to do something, the concept, you still need to implement it. How can I support you in implementing what you just learned? So I could tell you things for days and still make a living, because when it comes down to implementation, people need community. When you find yourself in a strong community, whether that's one-on-one, small group, membership, your results drastically increase because human beings thrive in community. So you can be free to just tell people how things are done, because you know, in order to actually make significant progress, they need to walk alongside someone. So that's why you see the cohort courses coming out. That's why you see the memberships. That's why you see the masterminds, because people realize in order to be competitive in 2024, you have to go beyond just selling content and actually sell people community.
Yes, which is why the Speaker Sister community at Mic Drop Workshop, I think, is like, yeah, you're going to learn a lot from the course, but that is where so much value comes from, is like the women that you meet along the way. I would add one more thing as to like why, if you're giving people information for free, why they would still join you is because people don't want to drink from a fire hose. Like, we have access to so much information. We are like overconsumption crisis that if someone wants to be a speaker or if someone wants to learn how to start a YouTube channel, just tell me what I need to know, instead of like, which articles should I read? Which source should I trust? Which of these 10 steps should I start with? This person says this, but this person says that. People also pay for brevity and directness. When I started Mic Drop Workshop in 2018, the first version of the course was like the kitchen sink version. I was like, well, I just need to tell someone everything that they need to know about being a speaker. And then as it started to grow, I realized they're not looking for everything. They're looking for my advice as to what I would do and what I have lived through to become a speaker. So the course got shorter, but the value got greater. And so when you're thinking about the content that you're giving people, they don't want the kitchen sink or to drink from a fire hose. They're also wanting to pay you to tell them what they need to know. But I did want to,
go
ahead.
Also in the right order. I think that's something we have to express as well, is that you can also consume content out of order. Like, you could go on YouTube and you could be like, okay, I'm going to watch these 10 videos about how to make thumbnails, how to do titles, how to do SEO, da 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 da. But the order matters. And so people are paying for that systematic approach to do what they need to get done. So you're giving them, the brevity, you're making it concise. You are putting it in the proper order. And so you are helping them to get from being problem aware to actually having a solution to their problem in a shorter amount of time. Because people care about saving time, saving money, and making money. So if you can save them the time of, being caught up in the depths of Google, that's a selling point. So even if it's on Google out of order. And so it's essential that if you are trying to sell educational products online, that you express to them, not only can I help you solve your problem, but I can help you solve it in less time, because people are so inundated and time is a limited resource. And so if you can save me some hours, I will pay for that. And most people really view things through that light.
And I think that, we're just in a crisis of short attention spans. It's like how you can help people just get to the point. I think this answers the question for so many people who have the imposter syndrome of like, why would someone pay me for this? Listen to this episode, because a lot of things that are like, well, duh, I would do the episode before I created the thumbnail. Like, is your duh is someone else's revelation. And so you need to value the things that maybe come easily to you can still be taught to someone else. The last thing I do want to touch on though, and this is something I've struggled with, is like, okay, I get the idea behind YouTube and creating those creating those pillars of content. What if there's pause or hesitation around, like, I guess you could call it being seen? I have no problem standing up in front of 1,000 people. But when then that green light comes on my computer, I'm like, what am I doing? Why am I here? I feel so much more awkward. You have a great online presence with just like, yeah, I'm here to help people. But what advice do you have someone who's like, yeah, I see the value in YouTube. I just don't want to do it because I don't want to put on a show.
Yeah, there are a couple approaches. Number one is faceless YouTube channels are very popular. We have a team member who was an editor for us years ago who literally just hit 1 million on YouTube, very rarely shows his face. He has a very compelling talking voice and his editing is next level. And so that's enough to keep people compelled and engaged. There's a channel I love called Company Man. I don't know what Company Man looks like. I couldn't point him out of a crowd, but he talks about why businesses failed and why businesses succeeded. And I love it. I mean, it's always random businesses. You know, it could be Dunkin' Donuts versus Starbucks or whatever. I don't know who the heck Company Man is, but I love the information he provides. I love the style. I love the topic. And so I'm good. I don't need to see your face for that. Now, if you're a speaker, girl, you're going to have to show your face. And so what you got to do is you have to overcome that barrier by strengthening that muscle to be seen. If you can do a Zoom call, you can do a YouTube video. Most of the speakers that I work with actually have an easier time doing live streaming because there are people in the comments. It's almost turning their YouTube channel into a digital stage. And so if you literally are better when people are engaging with you, then do it that way. Don't film your content while you're just talking to a camera by yourself. Talk to real people in your community and say, hey guys, you know, I'm filming a YouTube video Mondays at 10. I'll chop it up. You don't even have to publish the live stream after you finish. You can just use that to record your content. But hey, I would love to have you supporting me in the comments, asking me questions. It would really make it feel more comfortable for me. Give your community the opportunity to support you because they will show up and they will love it.
A great idea. And you are calling me out because my team knows that if they want something that it's recorded and recorded well by me, then it needs to be in front of a live audience, whether that's in person or virtual. Like my pre-recorded stuff is not nearly as good as when I'm like, Sharon from New Jersey, like, so glad you're here. Yeah, like, it's just, there's something different about it. So I love that call out. Lashonda, you have been incredible. Anyone who's interested in starting your YouTube channel or just learning more about it, go to micdropworkshop.com/series to take Lashonda's Mic Drop series course. But where else can people find you? Clearly on YouTube, but
on the YouTube, for sure.
Tell us more.
The two websites I want to put in front of you are LashondaBrown.com is my home base for all things, and Bootstrap Biz Advice is my app. So you can go there to consume my content ad-free. If you want to join my membership, you can do that. Jess and I did a workshop that's in the library there. So you can click around to your heart's content. But those are the two that I want to put in front of you where you can not only learn about me, but learn from me online.
I know you've been working so hard on this app, so I'm
very
excited. Download Bootstrap Biz. Is it Bootstrap Biz? Tell me
Bootstrap Biz Advice. Bootstrap Biz Advice is the app. Yep.
Bootstrap Biz Advice. We'll put it in the show notes as well. But Lashonda, you're the best.
Thanks, friend.
Thanks for listening to Amplify. If you are a fan of the show, show us some podcast love by giving us a rating and review. And give us a follow at Mic Drop Workshop and at Jess Ekstrom. This episode was edited and produced by Earfluence, and I'm Jess Ekstrom, your host. Remember that you deserve the biggest stage, so let's find out how to get you there. I'll see you again soon.